Five Finance family. Welcome to this edition of Let's Talk Tuesday. Can you all hear me? I want to make sure that everybody can hear me loud and clear. So give me some ears, some microphones in the comments. Give me some emojis, some microphones, or some ear emojis so I can make sure that you all hear me loud and clear before I continue with tonight's live. All right, great. So we have some participation early on. That's what I love to see. I just want to say I missed you guys last week. I know last week I was not able to do a live, but we definitely wanted to make sure we got in front of you this week and talk to you about some more tips and some more strategies. And tonight's topics, I should say, is about maximizing money, right? And so we're going to be giving you some tips and some strategies on how to maximize the current stream of income that you have coming in, right? Now, there may be one tip that's going to call for generating more income. But for the most part, most of the tips and strategies that I will be sharing with you tonight is about maximizing your money with the current stream of income that you have coming in right now. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. I want you to get a pen, piece of paper, and just some quiet time, right? A quiet space so you can take notes. We're going to put up all of the strategies on the live, but there are going to be some tips that I'll be sharing. All right. So it's going to come at you fast. You don't have to write them all down right away because I'm going to talk about each strategy individually. All right. But we wanted to make sure that we had them up and in front of you so that you can see and write them down as I go through. And also throughout the live, feel free as always to ask me any questions, leave any comments. I definitely want you guys to participate and share any tips and strategies that may not be mentioned in the live. That will also help us all maximize money, right? We're in this together, Five Finance family. So let's jump right into it. The first tip strategy to maximizing your money is moving your savings to a CD. And so you might ask, why would I want to do that? So a CD is a certificate deposit. It usually has a maturity date, which means that unlike a savings, you have to keep the money in for a certain length of time, right? And it varies. So this is something that you can get through your bank, through your personal bank. It usually gives you a higher interest. So it yields a higher interest than your savings, which is why I say it's a tip that you can use to maximize your money. So you're not necessarily contributing more to this CD, but you definitely are earning more in interest through the use of a CD. One thing that I would say is if you are using your savings as like an emergency fund, when you set up this CD, you want to make sure that you're getting a CD that is penalty free, which means if you make a withdrawal from the account before the maturity date, there are no penalties assessed for you making that withdrawal. I would advise that you have an emergency fund and that emergency fund be a savings or a checking, but have it separate from your CD. Okay, so tip number one, move that savings to a CD. Tip number two, and I know you guys are tired of me saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it, pay off debt, right? That is one of the fastest ways to maximize your money is to eliminate that debt. And we talked about a few weeks ago two ways, right? Methods that you can use. You can use the avalanche method, which means that you're paying off the highest interest yielding debt first, and then you're just making those minimal payments to everything else. Or you can use the snowball method, which means that you are paying off the least amount of debt first, the debt that's the smallest amount, and then paying minimum amounts to the rest of the debt. And then once you pay that off, you move it to the next debt. Same with the avalanche. Once you pay off that highest one, you move it to the next highest one, right? So it's a avalanche effect and a snowball effect, all right? So those are the two strategies that we talked about in a previous live, but definitely paying off debt is a strategy to maximizing your money, right? The next strategy that we're going to talk about is investing. So, investing, I know for some people it's like a daunting task and you don't know what to do, you don't know how to invest. What I would say is to use applications that are readily accessible. So, I like to use platforms on my phone in order to invest. I don't go through like a Charles Schwab. I don't go through people like that. I actually use an application called Stash. And what that does for me is it allows me to buy percentages of stock. And it also allows me to invest with a low monthly fee, and I don't have to pay per transaction. So that is something that I would say, like whatever platform you're choosing, make sure that the monthly fees are low, you don't pay per transaction, right? And that you can buy percentages, because some people don't have enough money to buy a full share, especially not of like the Amazon where it's in the 3,000s. All right, so we have a question and comment, so I want to go right to that. It says, if I am paying off debt, is it worth it to withdraw money from my CD to pay off that debt? Wayne, I would say no. That's why you need to create a budget or a money manage. We have a money management tool, Wayne, that you can definitely download to help you manage your money in a way where you have funds to allocate towards paying off that debt. So you don't want to borrow from your savings in order to pay off debt. Like your debt payment should be included in your budget, right? So that's something that you should be budgeting for every month, Wayne. All right. So I would say no to that. But again, we have a money management tool that can help you manage your money so that you can pay off that debt every month, right? All right. Number 4, contribute to a retirement plan. I cannot stress how important this is. I know personally, I don't plan, and I don't choose to work until I die, right? I want to make sure that when I do retire, I have a nice little cushion to fall back on. I want to enjoy life. I want to do all the things that I'm not able to do right now because I'm working. And I'm sure most of you feel the same way. And so, with that being said, you want to make sure that you are contributing to a retirement fund. If you are someone who is still employed, right? So, you haven't been an employer, you're an employee. Make sure that you understand what retirement plans are available to you under that employer. I will say that in the past, I've had employers who would match you dollar for dollar up to a certain percentage. And so you want to make sure that at the very bare minimum, you're taking advantage of that because that's free money. So what that means is if you say, I'm going to contribute $50 to my retirement account every pay period, and it's under that certain percentage, that limit percentage, then your employee will also contribute that $50 to your account. I've seen employers say they will match you dollar for dollar up to 3% of your income. I've seen them go as high as up to 6% of your income. So if you have a plan at your job that says, hey, I will match you dollar for dollar up to a certain percentage, absolutely make sure you are maximizing and you are utilizing that plan. All right, we got another question, comment. All right, so Henry says, are there any tax benefits or drawbacks to having more than one IRA? Okay, so no, there are not any drawbacks to having more than one IRA. There are some tax benefits that you can take advantage of for contributing to retirement accounts. The only thing that I will caution on, Henry, is to make sure that you're staying within the contribution levels. And we can talk about that a little offline because that's a whole nother beast in itself. But each retirement kind of tool has contribution limitations. So like with the IRA, I believe last year it was 6 or 7,000 per individual, right? That's how much you can contribute to it. That was the max. But then with the 401k, it's a little different. Like you can contribute a lot more. So again, Henry, that would be the only thing that I would say you need to look out for. Just make sure that you're staying within those contribution limitations. But absolutely, there is no downfall for having more than one IRA. Okay. So we said roll over the savings into a CD, pay off debt, invest, contribute to a retirement plan. Number 5, shop around for insurance. Now, this is car insurance, this is home insurance. I would say make sure at the bare minimum every year you're checking to make sure you're getting that competitive rate. All right. What some people don't know is that your credit score is tied to your insurance rate. So they actually look at that. And so if you've been doing some of the things that we talk of week over week, right? Paying off that debt, making sure that you make your payments to your bills on time, keeping your credit utilization low, all of those things are helping boost your credit score. And so what that does is it puts you in the running to get a more competitive rate. Your rates can be a lot lower than someone who doesn't have a great credit score. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that and you're shopping around to make sure you're getting that good competitive rate for both your car and your home insurance. Now, the reason why I say both is sometimes with companies, you get a discount for bundling, right? So if you bundle your home and your car together, you may get even more of a discount. Sometimes it may not be beneficial to move your home insurance, but maybe you just want to move the car. So either way, make sure that you're shopping around so you can get a good competitive rate and you're not overpaying for home and or auto insurance. Okay. Another one. Okay. So this is the one that I said, right? Most of these you don't have to, generate additional money to maximize it. But this is a particular tip that you will have to do a little bit of work in order to maximize your money here. And that's get a side hustle. Okay. I don't know if you remember Five Finance Family, but a few weeks ago we talked about good and bad debt. And we talked about a car note and how that was considered a bad debt. And then I challenged Charles and I said, hey, Charles, you know what? That could be a good debt if you use that debt in order to generate more income. And so one way that you can do that with a side hustle is you can drive for Uber, right? You can drive for Lyft. You can do Uber Eats, right? You could do Instacart, right? When you deliver people's groceries to them. So there are other ways, Grubhub, there are other ways that you can use that debt, that car, in order to generate some more money, right? So get a side hustle, do something that's going to generate more money. And that's how you can maximize your money. And then the last tip or strategy that I have is renting out your unused space. Now, if you're anything like me, I was a little hesitant about this. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want somebody coming in my house and being on my property. I don't know if it's secure. I don't know if it's safe. But if you feel comfortable, right, I would definitely say absolutely look at this one. This is an easy one to put into play. There is an application called Neighbor, and in that application you can answer a series of questions. It asks like, how big is your space? What type of space is it? Is it climate control? Will the space be under lock and key? How often can the person visit the space? What time of day do you desire for them to come and visit the space? So it does put in a lot of stipulations that you control, right? As the person saying, I have this space for rent, which should make you a little at ease, put you a little at ease in doing this venture. But again, once you answer all those questions, it gives you a rate, and then it advertises that rate for you, and it lets people know in your area, hey, such and such has this space available should you need it to store any goods, and this is the rate. Right. So again, that's money that you are able to earn with just space that you're not using. Right. So you don't have to put up any money to do this. Like you're just saying, hey, I have this space and I can utilize this space in order to make me money. So that is the final money maximizing tip that I have tonight. So I want to recap them all because I know I went through them kind of fast. So the first one was rolling your savings over to a CD, and we talked about what a CD is. We talked about We talked about, the stipulations of it having a maturity date, and you want to try to get a penalty-free CD. Then number 2, we talked about paying off your debt. And again, I can't stress that anymore. You have to make sure you pay off that debt in order to maximize your money. That is the fastest way to do it. We talked about using the avalanche, or we talked about using the snowball method. So either one of those you can use to pay down that debt. And then we talked about investing. We talked about the platform that I prefer, which is Stash, but there are a plethora of platforms out there. Definitely do your research and see which one you feel most comfortable with. Okay. And then another tip, when you're setting up these investing tools, make sure that let's say that you can't afford to put a large amount up front. You can set it up so that it's taking a percentage from your account every month or every 2 weeks. So you can set it up to say, hey, every 2 weeks, can you invest $5 into Amazon until I can get a full share? You know what I mean? So you have that option under these platforms. Then we talked about 4, contributing to your retirement plan. And I told you to max out the dollar for dollar match. We talked about shopping around. Number 5, shop around for insurance for your car and your home. And I said how your actual credit score affects that. So that's important. So you want to make sure that you're doing things to keep that credit score good so you can get those competitive rates. 6, we talked about using cashback apps. We did not. I think I skipped over that, guys. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I did the recap. Cashback apps. This is important. Okay, so I want to take some time to stay here for a minute. I can't believe I forgot this one. Cashback apps such as Fetch, right, will allow you to use your grocery receipt in order to earn cash back or rewards in the form of like a gift card. So let's say that you are somebody who likes to frequent Amazon. Me. Okay. You can earn rewards that you can then use on Amazon to pay for things that you were already going to buy. Okay. So that's a way to maximize your money, right? You're not spending money that you weren't going to spend already, right? You're just earning rewards on that money that you were already going to spend, and then using those rewards to pay for something that you were already going to buy. Okay, so that's a way to maximize your money. I cannot believe that I forgot that one. I love that one. That's a good one. All right, number 7, we talked about getting a side hustle. So we talked about driving for like a Uber Eats or Uber or Lyft or whatever. And then number 8, we talked about renting out your space. And I talked about using an application called Neighbor in order to do so. Okay, so those are the 8 money maximizing strategies and tips. Hopefully you found this helpful. I would love for you to share any money maximizing strategies or tips that you may have. Please make sure you put those in the comments below so that if someone comes and watches this in replay, they can not only get the ones that I shared, but they can also get the ones that you shared. So I want to see if we have any more comments while I was talking. Okay, so Wayne has a comment. I use the envelope system. What do you mean the envelope system, Wayne? So there is an envelope system that you can use for budgeting. So I'm assuming that that's what you're talking about in regards to I use the envelope system. I'm assuming it's for budgeting. And if you're using that for budgeting, that is fine. I would also say that, let's bring you up to the 21st century, right? And let's try to use not only the envelope system, but let's try to use something where you can put everything on paper, or at least you can put everything in a spreadsheet, something that you can manage, play with your numbers so that when you do start paying off that debt, it's easy to allocate that money to something else. All right, and so Joanne has a question. Thrifty shopping. Oh, she has a comment. Another maximizing money strategy, thrifty shopping. Joanne, that is right. I'm a thrifter. And so there are a number of stores you can use, right? Everybody knows Goodwill. All right, don't hate, don't knock on Goodwill. You can find some good things at Goodwill. Some things with even the tag still on them. If you are about that. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're utilizing that money management tool, money maximizing tool. Sorry. So thank you, Joanne, for sharing. Very good. Thrifty shopping. That is a good one. All right. So do we have any other questions or comments? All right. So Henry says, is there a certain percentage of your income that should go into paying off debt, investing, contributing to a retirement plan, etc.? So, this is kind of a very loaded question, right? So it's hard for me to tell you what you should put to each item without seeing where you currently are, Henry. So my suggestion to you is first create a budget, and then from that budget, there are rules that I like to put in place on how much money you should allocate towards like living expenses, towards transportation expenses. So you can utilize those rules. And I've talked about these in detail in previous lives. So feel free to go back through it. But you can utilize that to at least see where you should be living, right, with your month to month expenses. And then from that, you can say, okay, this amount of, whatever my savings budget is, I'm going to put towards retirement. This amount I'll put towards a CD. This amount I'll put to a regular savings. Okay. I will say this: when you are setting up your emergency funds, which I briefly mentioned, I would say that let's start it at 1,000. Like, make that your goal to get to $1,000 in emergency funds, and then continue to contribute to that, build upon that. Ideally, want to have 3 to 6 months worth of income in that fund, right? Should anything happen, so you want to make sure that you're covered. Should anything come up unexpected, that's what the emergency fund is for. But that's a good question, Henry, but you just have to do a little bit of work on your part to see where you can contribute and how much you should be contributing. All right, so Wayne says, this is great content. Thanks so much. You're so welcome, Wayne. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your comments. Do you have any other comments, questions? All right, so I think that is it for Finance Family. Thank you so much for tuning in on this nice episode of Let's Talk Tuesday, where we talked about maximizing your money. I hope that you found it helpful. Again, continue to share in the comments below, even after the live is done. Please share any tips or other strategies that you yourself have put into action on how to maximize your money. Thank you so much for joining. And again, have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday evening. Until next time, Finance Family, talk to you all soon.